Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be doing another nail vlog, so let's get into it.
Room full of beautiful women, but I'm on mine. Room full of women and they notice me. Now all they wanna listen to is jealousy. Freaking you. Is there a freak in you? Come and talk to me.
Take my last set off. I didn't have any stuff to fill them in, so I had to wait until I got some new stuff, and I got some new stuff, so it's time to do a whole fresh set, baby. I am going to, because last time I made one of these videos and it ended up being almost an hour long, so I'm going to go ahead and file and get the surface rough, and I'm going to get my tips laid down, and I will be back with you guys once I get all that done. I'll probably put it on a time lapse for you. But I feel like the main thing here is like the nail design, or like, and actually doing the acrylic. If you guys want to see how I put the tips on and stuff, you can look to my last nail video I did. But yeah, I'll probably put it on a time lapse for you. I'm gonna get the tips on, get these filed, and yeah. So before I put the tips on, I'm gonna make sure the nail itself's rough. I'm gonna get my prep work done. So I'm gonna get my cuticles pushed back, get anything filed down that needs to be filed down. Like I said, I'm gonna file my nail, make that nail rough, so that way when I put that tip on, it's gonna have a little bit more there to actually stick on. So I've got my tips on and my little, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, this just like broke. So like that thing won't come up now. So I guess I'm just gonna have to like file them down like normal. But I'm about to start laying my acrylic down. Gotta get my monomer out. And then I need to get my acrylic powder out. No. So we can go ahead and start laying this down. Oh, and it's got the thingy on it. There we go.
I want a hug.
I love you too, baby.
Is it okay if we play in there so quiet?
No, we're not, because I'm making a video, so you guys can play upstairs. You coming for a hug too?
Yeah.
Love you.
I did need to.
Are you coming for a hug too? What, Lena? You can ask Keandre if you can watch TV on your TV. Please get off my clean clothes. Are you coming for a hug too?
Yeah.
I love you. Sorry. Kiddos are still awake. It is a Friday night. So, okay. Start. Get the monomer. Okay. Pick up some acrylic. And then I've learned that you want to start it in the middle. You don't want to take it all the way down yet. Drag it up. And then you just kind of, that's how I do it. Again, this isn't a tutorial. This is just what I do. And then I just kind of drag that up. And I'm gonna leave it. And I'm gonna go on to the next nail, because I've learned that's what works for me. So I'm gonna go in, pick some more acrylic up, and then you kind of gotta hold it at a downward angle, so that way it kind of sits how it's supposed to. And then just drag it down. Pat, pat, pat. Just like that. Pick up some more. Go to the next nail. Lay it down. Drag it down. Just like so. Dip it. Next nail. Just like that. And I always take off the excess because it'll get all dry in the brush and then it'll make it a pain and it won't do it right. So. Just like that. Okay, so I've got the first layer down. So now I need to go and do it by the cuticle. Just kind of pat. You want to be careful to not flood the cuticle. Then drag it up. Pick up some more if you need to, which is what I'm gonna have to do. And yep, just make sure you hold the nail at an angle so that way, because it kind of naturally falls. You just kind of have to guide it. So, let's see what that one looks like. So now I'm gonna go do the next one. Got the product. Just like that. I'm to the point I'm so ready to start practicing on other people. Sorry, my kids are distracting. Pick up some more. Just like that. Just like that. So I'm going to continue on doing that like that, and then I will check back in with you guys after I'm all done laying the acrylic down. But I'll put it on time lapse for you. Got the acrylic powder laid down. I need to file. That's where I'm at now. I'm gonna put it on time lapse again. This one's filed a little bit. definitely gotten 10 times better. So this is what my shaping is starting to look like. Definitely getting 10 times better at it. Really proud of myself. Also getting better at applying the acrylic in general, and that definitely helps with the shaping and the filing process, because if you don't put on an excessive amount of acrylic, and I think there for a minute I definitely was, it makes filing and shaping it 10 times easier because you don't have all that excess that you've got to file off there. So I am putting on my primer for gel polish. If you guys don't know, they come with, you have to do a base coat, and then there's the color, and then there's a top coat. In the set I've got from Beetle's Gel Polish, it has my cat always has to come in and mess with me. Always while I'm doing my nails. She doesn't want to mess with me any other time. Very rarely, except for when I'm doing my nails. And then she wants to mess with me the whole time. Anyways, but yes, mine comes with like a shiny top coat, and then I also got a matte top coat, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the matte, because I'm definitely all about like texture with my nail. I don't know if it's like a comfort thing, but I'll sit there and just rub my nails, and if there's any type of like bubbles, any type of like imperfections, like it just bugs the ever-living crap out of me. So I wasn't sure. I like how like the shiny feels. I know that sounds so weird, but like the matte, I wasn't sure if it would feel weird and throw me off, but it doesn't bother me. So it was nice, because I never wanted to pay the money at a salon. I know that sounds so stupid, but I never wanted to pay them and then like turn around and hate them and like not be able to do the texture. So I'm glad that kit came with the matte, so I could test it out and not have to pay the extra money for it to see if I even liked it. So I'm going to finish priming that hand. I do my other hand off camera. The video ended up being like 45 minutes. Actually, it ended up being like 70 some minutes long. And then I edited out over a half an hour of the video. So I do the same thing on both hands. The other one's just with my less dominant hand. So now we gotta dry. Now that they're dry, it's time to do the first coat. I decided to go with black and like silver. It had been a minute since I'd done black nails. I've just been doing like really bright colorful nails with summertime. And I do want to do another, summer set before summer's over, but I definitely wanted to switch it up and do some black nails. There ain't nothing like some long black nails to make you just feel like a whole baddie. So it was time for that. And my thought process, these were going to turn out really cool. And I think if they would have, I ended up, which you'll see later in the video, I had to, my ring finger and my pointer finger, I ended up taking all of the polish off of those and redoing them because I did cheetah print. So here in a minute, you'll see me get out my matte. I'm about to dry my first coat of the black, and then I do a second coat of black, let that dry, and then on my pointer finger and my ring finger, I put the matte top coat down, and then I was gonna lay down the shiny over the top of it, but like make it look like cheetah print, which I did do. I don't think it was my last video. No, it was the time before that when I did my nails. I had figured out how to do the cheetah print, which was cool, and I can still do it, but like it just for some reason didn't look right. And I don't know why, but I wasn't digging it. So I had to redo it. So definitely getting better too about not getting the polish like all around the fingernail, and just I've learned by watching many tutorials, like one of the tricks is like you just kind of get close to the bottom and then you kind of push it. Like you don't need to fully take the brush, like don't start from that way, because then you're going to get it everywhere. And then you want to try and not totally flood out the cuticle at the bottom, because then it doesn't really have that like round look at the bottom like your nails are supposed to have, and then it don't look right. So we'll dry that second coat. And then this is where I was talking about laying there it is, the matte top coat down. And like I said, I just put it on my pointer finger and on my ring finger. Had to fix my ring. And I do like how my ring looks with my nails, obviously. I mean, my diamond's black, so it all matches. I'll lay down that, and then well, geez, it's taken me 20 years. Down on that figure. Make sure it's on the edges. You got to make sure it's on the tip, and make sure you get that nail capped in, or else I've noticed that it'll kind of, if you don't like cap it totally in, it makes it so the polish will lift up easier and it'll peel off easier. And if y'all are anything like me, like I said, I fill my nails all the time. So if there's any type of anything like that, I have a really hard time with not just straight picking it off there. Now we're finally moving over to my ring finger here to get that matte coat laid down. Take my time. For some reason, whenever you put that under there, it kind of like, I did have one spot where I kind of got my cuticle a little bit. You can't tell when you look at them. I've gotten 10 times better, but it does kind of burn when you put it under the UV light. And I've noticed that's the only one. Like the shiny top coat doesn't do that. So now I've got to pick out of my brushes to choose which one I'm going to use for the cheetah print. So once I've got that picked out, I'm going to go ahead and grab my little resin tray that you can plop the nail polish on. I'm going to take my shiny top coat and I'm going to put a little bit down on there so I can just dip. The brush I ended up using, I didn't end up using the actual brush. I used the ball part of it, so you can just like make a little dot. Because when you do cheetah print, you're supposed to like make the dot, and then what you do is on both sides, then you do like a C on each side. So I'm gonna get that polish out. Make sure I close it so I don't knock it over while I'm, or my cat, you know, since she just wants to come over and mess with stuff while I want to do my nails. So I'm going to go ahead and get them dots laid down. I'm going to try and like strategically place them all over my nails so like they're spaced out enough and I've got enough room to come through and do like the C part, which again, like I said, didn't end up turning out how I wanted it to. So I did end up having to take it out, which like I said, you'll see later on in the video. But I was kind of upset about it at first. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's a learning process. So, you know, next time I'll just try it. That's the thing about gel though. Like, I feel like I could have looked at it and known that I didn't like it. I was really just trying to trust the process, because sometimes when you do your nails, it doesn't look right at first, or even like makeup, hair, any of it. Like, it doesn't look right at first, and you really just kind of got to trust the process and see kind of what it looks like at the very end, because sometimes it just, once you get totally finished, it really just brings everything totally together. So I was hoping that was going to happen, and I even slept on it because I ended up redoing the couple today, because I recorded this video last night. So I ended up fixing them today. So I even slept on it and kind of gave it a minute for them to kind of grow on me. And I wasn't digging them. I don't even think I showed y'all what they looked like before I redid them, to be quite honest. It just wasn't my thing. So I'm finishing. I don't think I'm finishing. I think I started on the top of that nail. But I've moved to my ring finger now, getting those dots laid. And then what I'll do is I will dry those with the light before I go through and do the C, because I don't want to accidentally like bump it and make the little circle part not look right. I was already a little concerned about it to begin with, so. Trying to keep my hand balanced. I'm figuring it out though. Like I said, I've learned if you put that pinky down, that helps you have more control over your whole hand, because it kind of stops the shaking. And yeah, I'm really excited to start like practicing full sets on other people though, because I feel like I like how much better I'm getting at doing my own. So I feel like once I start doing other people's, like I feel like it's going to help it come more easier, because I'll be able to use my dominant hand and I won't have to, and then you have to hold your hand funky. Like it's just kind of a mess doing your own nails sometimes. I think everything's a little more difficult when you're doing it on yourself. Stuff like that anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that down since I'm done putting the dots. Go ahead and get that dry so I can move on to the next step. Okay, so now that those are dry, now I need to grab my tray back and I need to go back into the shiny top coat, and I need to go around the circles, and I need to do the little C's. But I was having a hard time getting it out of the bottle last night. Like that did not want to come out. And I know I'm not running low because I've got 2 of them. Like I've ordered 2 separate sets of nail polish. So I've got 2 top coats that are shiny, 2 matte top coats, 2 bases. And I know that I haven't totally run out yet, but it is what it is. I made it work. So yes, now I'm going to go back in with that little ball tool and do the little C's on each side of the dots. And like I said, you just really got to kind of try and strategically place them so that way it doesn't look like there's like it's all bunched up together and like there's too much going on in that one little spot. So you really just kind of got to eyeball that part of it though. I mean, there may be a better way than eyeballing it, but that's what I do. Get those done on that finger, and then I'll move over to my ring finger and get those on that one afterwards.
What the fuck was that? And then what the fuck just happened?
Make sure I wipe any excess off if I got any on my skin. The good thing about gel is until you put it under that light, it's not dry. So at this point, like I could take a paper towel and I could totally wipe what I just did off my finger and it wouldn't be there because it hasn't been cured with that UV lamp yet. Which I should have done because I could tell at that point I didn't like them. So now I'm gonna move over to Cat trying to come mess with me again. See, I told y'all. She don't want to mess with me until I'm doing my nails. And then she wants to be all up on me. And the funny thing is, after I got done doing my nails and I laid down, she didn't come mess with me at all. Like, girl, you just wanted to, I don't know what you wanted to do. I'm going to draw those C's on there. Keep going back in there and picking up more polish. I think where I really messed up though, I think it was because I took a brush that had a bigger ball on it. I think I should have chose a brush that had a smaller ball. I think that's really what threw it off for me. So next time I try it, I will try one with a smaller ball, and I'll let you guys know if that turned out any better for me. Got to examine, make sure I didn't miss any spots. And at this point, I believe I went through and added a couple more because there was a couple spots on my nail that looked like there could have been like a half a one, or like it was just too much of a blank space, like it was just missing something. I mean, they didn't look bad when they were done. They really didn't. I think I'm just more picky sometimes than what I need to be. See, I went in here and grabbed a smaller one, like a smaller little ball brush. And I do think that helped it look a little better. That's part of the reason why I think if I would have started with the smaller one to begin with, it would have turned out a little better for me. And they didn't really look bad from far away. Like I said, I think that's just me being harder on them. Because, you know, if it's something that you did, you're going to be 10 times harder on yourself than anybody else. Because, you know, we're our worst enemy. We're going to let that cure, let it dry. So you can kind of see them there. I mean, they don't look terrible, but it's just not the look I wanted to go for. Didn't turn out exactly as planned. So now on my middle finger, I did like a silver glitter ombre into the black. So here you see me kind of lay, and I used two different kinds of silver. One I had like smaller glitter flakes in it, and I feel like that did more of like the coverage. And then I used one that had like bigger flakes in it, and I used that to kind of drag it down to give it more of that like ombre effect. So here you see me kind of going with a brush to kind of drag it down a little bit. And that's still just the first round of the glitter, so that doesn't have the bigger, thicker glitter in it. Grab a different brush. Trial and error, guys. And what works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. What works for you doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. If you do have any tips or tricks, I definitely would appreciate it if you would comment them down below. I'm always open to any type of advice. Now, that doesn't mean to sound off in the comments and be rude, because there's a difference between being rude and giving constructive criticism. And I feel like a lot of people on these social media apps don't know the difference. But yeah. So now I'm going to go through here. I've got to pick up my little diamond jewel that I'm going to use. And I put one of those down at the bottom of my thumb and then at the bottom of my pinky. Now my thumb on my right hand, I did have to redo that one again this morning too. I'm guessing I put a little bit too much top coat on it, because while it dried, it kind of slid to the side of my nail. So I didn't have to like totally redo that one though. I just had to kind of file off the jewel and lay another one down and then put another top coat over the top of it. So that one wasn't too bad. And what I do with those is I use one of the little ball thingies that I've got. And I use the smallest one I've got, and I kind of dip it into that top coat that I had on my resin tray. and I put that on my nail, and then I use the excess that's still left on that tip to go into the little container where the gems are held, and I kind of use that to pick up a gem and then just lay it on top of my nail. Just like that, and then just kind of drop it down and kind of push it very, very lightly, because you don't want to, I don't want it to be like move it extremely one way to the side, because I feel like I'm just going to move it all the way over and like it's going to be the end of the world and totally mess it up, even though it's really not that deep. I just use small little movements to make sure it's positioned exactly where I want it to be. And you can kind of see me just picking. See, it's not even moving a little bit. It's just little tiny, like I just don't want it off center because it's gonna bug me.
I did. Yes, I do. She plays Gemma too.
Now I've got to let it dry under the UV light.
What the fuck's her name?
And now that everything's dry, I'm going to go back in. Okay, so this is the other silver. So this is going to be the silver that has like the little chunkier bits. That's going to help me give it a little bit more of that ombre effect. So I'm going to lay that down. And then I'm going to take another one of those little brushes with the balls on the end, and I'm going to use that to kind of drag the chunky pieces of glitter down towards the bottom of the silver, so that way it gives it that ombre look and it doesn't just look like the silver was just plopped down there. You see, I'm just dragging them down. You kind of see it move a little bit. Now, I definitely feel like I could have laid silver down on the tip and then the black down at the bottom and then really ombre them, but like you can't, I mean, you can see the black through the silver, but it looks like it's supposed to be there, so it doesn't look weird or anything like that. And I think that would have made it a little bit difficult. And I'm not trying to make things difficult unnecessarily. Because, I mean, let's be honest, I do that every day in my life anyways. Don't need to do it to my nails. And I'm going in with my shiny clear top coat, and I'm going to put that on my pinky and on my thumb to really, first of all, I got to do the top coat anyways over the polish. And then I like to make sure and do it over this stone as well, because it just gives it that little extra security. Now, I do know that they have like actual glue for gemstones for nails. And, you know, I'm not a licensed nail technician, but it kind of feels like, and from what I've heard also from like nail tutorials I've watched, it's kind of a waste of money, because you can literally do the same thing with like the shiny top coat, because it still cures and it'll still hold it there in place. And I've never had any issues with them coming off. I always have to grind them off. So that works for me. So again, not a nail tech, but if you're trying to figure out how to do your own nails, I thought I needed to buy it. I know I've still got it in my Amazon cart, but save your money and get other stuff instead of the gem glue. I also get my monomer and my acrylic powder from Sally's. Now, I am looking for, like, I would like to get like an actual set, and I need another brush, because the brush I have isn't as big, and I feel like if I had a wider brush like I've seen people use, it would make my acrylic application just that much better. I just feel like the brush I have doesn't hold the monomer like it's supposed to, and I mean, I could still do it. I still make it work, but okay, so this one's from today. So this is where you're gonna see me file off what I did on my pointer finger and on my ring finger, so that way I can redo it. In my pointer finger, I honestly just ended up going straight black. It had been a long time since I'd done black, so there was a big part of me that when I was done was like, I really wish I would have just done straight black, because that just makes you feel like a bad bitch sometimes, and sometimes you just gotta feel like a bad bitch. So I ended up just doing my pointer straight black, and then I did my ring finger silver. So that kind of helped me to incorporate the silver on the tip of my middle finger and with the rest of my hand, and with the rhinestones that I have on my pinky and on my thumb. Just kind of felt like it kind of married the whole thing together a little bit more for me. But I'm gonna grind that off. And I do see around like the bottom and on the edges there is still black. First of all, I wasn't planning on doing my ring finger silver until I was already in the process of doing it. But you can't see it through the polish. So I really wasn't tripping about it to begin with. But I'm gonna get all of that filed off. See a little bit better now. I really like to just use the hand file, but when you're filing off the gel polish, it's just 10 times easier to use the drill. Now, I think I just like using my hand file because I don't care for my drill. It works, but I'm definitely ready to move up in the world and get a little bit of a better one. That one came off of Amazon. I believe it was like $35. So if y'all have any suggestions for a better drill, please also drop those down in the comments. Yeah, girl needs it. It's a great beginner drill. Like, no harm, no foul. Like, it's got, you know what I mean? I've done several great sets with it. I've learned with it. So I feel like I've definitely got my money out of it. But, again, still ready to move up in the world. So, any suggestions are highly appreciated. Trying to not cut up my cuticle. I've gotten so much better with it. I used to destroy my cuticles, but I definitely have gotten 10 times better with it. You know, I still get people comment on my TikToks when I post my nails that around my cuticles like red, and I'm like, my skin's literally just that color around my cuticles, so I don't know what y'all want me to say. I've got to, you know how I told y'all that my thumb on my right hand, my gem kind of migrated. This is just me laying down a new gem. You can't see it very well in the video, but that's what I'm picking up a gem right now. And again, that's my fault. I didn't realize. Oh, I was just opening it. I wasn't picking up the gem yet. Girl, I'm losing my mind. So there's me putting the gem, getting the top coat, the clear top coat laid down for the gem. Still got the excess on the little tool. The only thing I don't like is that sometimes you pick up more than one gem, and that's kind of a pain, because then they don't want to let go of each other, and it's just a big old cluster. And that might be partially my fault for picking them up the way I'm supposed to. I don't know if I'm picking them up wrong or if that's just the gems in general just sticking together, but it works for me, so I'm going to continue doing it. I also want different rhinestones because all those are the same size. So I want to get some that are like bigger than the others and then smaller ones, so that way I can do a little bit more dimension whenever I do stones and they're not just all the same size. I want to do one of those nails where it's literally just all crystals and just looks like totally blinged out. Just trying to make sure it's positioned correctly so it doesn't slide again. Go ahead and get it dried and cured on there so I don't have to worry about hitting it so it won't move after it dries and cures because it's got that top polish underneath it. Go ahead and put my shiny top coat on top of it so that nail is totally done. I need to get a better tripod. Y'all, you should have seen it. I literally had my phone tied to my ring light with a headscarf. I was a little mad that I'd never thought of that before because that was pretty easy to do and I feel like that helped a little bit, but clearly y'all can't see what I'm doing right this second. So I need one of those little tripods that is like a little taller and that I can kind of bend so you guys can really see what it is that I'm doing. So we'll go ahead and cure that top coat. So like I said, that nail is totally done and we can move on to the ring finger and my pointer finger. So I've got to go ahead and lay down a coat of primer before I can lay the polish down. And like I said, I do know that I still have the black around it. Was originally gonna lay another layer of black down on top of it, so I wasn't tripping about it to begin with, but the silver that I have that has like the smaller flakes, that does some pretty good coverage, so it covered it up. And again, make sure you've got the sides capped in, the top capped in, so that way there's something there for that gel to really stick to. Let it cure. And then it is now time to go ahead and put down my first layer of my black. And I want to go ahead and pass this message along because I feel like you can see through it. Even like when I do my second coat, there were some areas where I can kind of see through it. Don't do thick globs. I repeat, do not do thick globs. It's just going to make your polish really thick. And yes, while it helps you not be able to see through it, you still don't want it to be super, super thick like that. So just do thin coats. Like I have noticed that a little bit goes a long way with gel polish, and then after you cure it, it kind of like it spreads it out a little bit more anyways, so it really solidifies it so you can't just see through it. So thin layers, cure, don't do thick. Just please take my word for it. You will not regret doing thin layers. Even if you have to, I would rather have to do an extra thin layer than do globs and do super thick layers and then your nails come out looking super thick. Huh. Go ahead and take out the thing, dry it. I've got my first layer of black laid down on my pointer, and I've got a layer of the glitter laid down on my ring finger. So now that that's cured, I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna do my second coat. For my ring finger that is silver and glittery, I kind of alternate between the silver with the chunky specks of glitter and then the glitter with the smaller flecks of glitter in it. I've noticed that layering the two helps with the translucency of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my second coat of black on my pointer. Make sure all the edges are filled in. I don't have any spots showing that don't have any polish on them at all. Then here's where I decide to go ahead and lay some of the chunkier glitter down to fill in any spots that may be even semi-transparent. Once I've got that done, I'm gonna go ahead and take out my light, cure it again. My pointer finger is now done, so I go ahead and I am getting my shiny top coat on that. So that way, after it goes under the UV light this next time, that nail will be totally done. Cure it. And now my silver nail is done. So you see me laying down my top shiny coat on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and get that done on that nail, and then I will have to cure that as well. So that way now that nail will be totally done. Cure that hand for the last time. And then I did my other hand off camera. This is what they ended up turning out like. I really like them. Like I said, my thickness, I'm getting so much better at not getting them thick. They're actually the thickness of a salon. So pretty happy with it. Happy with the way they turned out. If you guys have made it to the end of this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. I definitely appreciate the love and support. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before you leave. And I will be posting more nail content, more makeup content, more vlogging content very, very, very soon. So I hope you guys like them. Like I said, I like the way they turned out after I redid them. Before, not so much, but hey, it's a learning process and you've got to do it and you've got to mess some things up to learn sometimes. It's just how it goes. So thank you guys. See you next time.